All right, well, the fallout from the Setlakwe fiasco continues. Quebec launching 2 investigations after a damning Auditor General report revealed major cost overruns. Project now expected to exceed $1.1 billion, $1.1 billion. Let's get that right. And of course, the big story amid that growing criticism, the Minister of Cybersecurity, Eric Caire, has resigned. Let's try and unpack this scandal a little bit more. We head over to Michelle Setlakwe from the Liberal Party of Quebec, the MNA for Mont-Royal, Outremont, and the official opposition critic on cybersecurity and digital technology. Madame Setlakwe, welcome to the program.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
So listen, you're going to have so many opportunities to dunk on the SAAQ and dunk on Eric Caire. You want to do it, you go ahead. But here's how I want to start this subject. I look at governments dealing with technology, and it's not just in Quebec. You know, Ottawa, the ArriveCan app, it's going to cost $80,000. It cost $60 million. The Phoenix Pay system, that was a complete fiasco that's not over out of Ottawa. Of course, we have this Setlakwe fiasco here in Quebec. And I'm looking at some of the stories out of the United States that have been uncovered of late, obviously, because they've got a department now of government efficiency where they're talking about software cost overruns. And I'm thinking to myself, here's the actual problem. Politicians are politicians, and you're good at what you do, but you're not good at technology. And software becomes an abyss. Nobody can understand it. And software developers, they can just take governments for a ride. That's my worry right now. I wonder what you'd say to that.
Well, you are right. The challenges are not going away. Quebec is undergoing a major digital transformation, which is needed and which we must proceed with. And the challenges are significant. The failure of SAAQclic is a clear sign of very poor digital governance, which clearly fell under the responsibility of the Ministry of Cybersecurity and Digital Affairs. The ministry was created to oversee exactly for that, to be the leader and to make sure that these projects could go ahead without these enormous cost overruns, etc. So think of what we're facing now. We need to take into consideration the modernization of the healthcare system. That's a huge piece that we need to. It's already underway, and there's already a company that was chosen, Epic. I mean, it's going to take a few years for the rollout, but this is something that is already underway. We need secure hosting of our data. The question of digital sovereignty is very important. Digital identity, which is a bill we were working on up until Wednesday of this week, and so many more.
Yeah.
So with all these digital governance issues at stake, it's crucial that we now have a new minister who fully assumes his or her role with leadership and diligence.
Was the now former minister Eric Caire a bit of a bonehead? My words, not yours. Was he? I'm saying it. Was he a bit of a bonehead here? I saw how he treated you, by the way, and you probably saw my tweet about this. How he treated you in a parliamentary commission where he wouldn't even answer your questions, for crying out loud.
That was, I would say, insulting. I've been dealing with now former Minister Caire for over 2 years. And with him, it's never his fault. There's always an excuse, always someone else to blame. And so his resignation was the thing to do. Quebecers deserve better than a minister who acts like a mere spectator instead of assuming his leadership. So yes, it was very frustrating for me, but ultimately insulting for Quebecers because I was asking legitimate questions. And the most bothersome part is his attitude. So his dismissive and unconcerned attitude towards the SAAQclic disaster and just every other major project. It's as if his role was never very clear and he never assumed the leadership that he was supposed to embody. And his legendary detachment, as if he was not the one responsible for leading Quebec's digital transformation, as if he had no role in the SAAQclic fiasco, which he clearly did.
So can I ask you, what's your thoughts on, so one of the things that have come out in the last week or so is that so many people who worked on the SAAQclic digital transition ended up with better, newer jobs in government, other posts in other departments. throughout this whole process. It seems like people fail up in this government, and I'd love to know your thoughts on that.
There are many questions that remain unanswered. This is a huge, again, a clear sign of very poor governance. So what we're asking is, well, we need to get to the bottom of things. And I under the leadership, and I was closely with my colleague, Montserrat, who's our leader, but also Critic for transport. So we've been working closely together along with, obviously, Marc Tanguay, our interim leader. And what we're asking is to get to the bottom of things. We're asking to unredact all the minutes of all the relevant meetings, who knew what and when. And when did things go wrong? Well, we have the report of the Auditor General saying that this project was, there was like a new planification in 2022, an electoral year. Who knew what when? And then, yes, eventually we're also asking for a public and independent inquiry commission. So to answer your question briefly, this is not over with Eric Caire's resignation. There is still a lot of questions unanswered, and we need to get to the bottom of things.
We're wrapping up here with Michelle Setlakwe from the Quebec Liberal Party, the official opposition critic on cybersecurity and digital technology. What do you say to the allegation? We obviously heard it from the government this week. They're trying to deflect here, of course, but maybe they're onto something, that this started actually well before they were in government. It was the Liberal Party of Quebec, and I know some people are like, well, it wasn't even the Liberals, it was the PQ. Maybe we can go in the weeds there. But what do you say to that? That, you know what, this can't be blamed just on the current government. This is a decades-long debacle that spans multiple governments.
No way. So we have the Auditor General's report that's very clear. And we're facing a government that's been in power for over 6 years now. We are dealing with a government that failed to deliver an efficient platform for something as simple as renewing driver's licenses and vehicle registration within a reasonable budget and time frame. So no, I'm sorry, we're not going to be going back 10, 15 years. This is the CAQ's failure. And now how can we trust them today with our sensitive data, including our health records, and with the digital identity project that's on the table? No, this is the CAQ. And again, I invite everybody to read the Auditor General's report that was filed last Thursday. There are, and again, many important questions that remain unanswered, and we need to get to the bottom of this. And this is the CAQ's fiasco, CAQ's debacle. Let
me end off here with an example from south of the border, and this comes at 11. This is 11 o'clock at night. That the Department of Government Efficiency, I'm sure you're aware of Elon Musk's operation that he's doing for Donald Trump, okay? So here's a tweet from 11 o'clock at night, okay? From the Department of Government Efficiency. And they write, in 2023, the Office of Personnel Management took out a $6 million loan to convert their website to a new platform. After spending $5 million, it's nowhere near complete. And if it was finished, it would cost $400,000 a year to host. The current website only costs $1,000 a year. We have canceled the project, and we will give back the remaining funds. Boom, it's done. And I wonder if you look at some of those things that are happening right now for efficiency, especially on the technology side, and you say to yourself, oh boy, we need something like that for Quebec.
Well, I certainly would not inspire myself with what's going on in the U.S. right now. Let's stick to Quebec and the SAAQclic fiasco. There are many lessons to be learned. Again,
but will they be learned if we just keep doing the same thing over and over?
No, you know what?
And over?
One of the areas of vulnerability that we have is, and this I've discussed with Eric Caire when he was minister just in the past few days, is the question also of the internal expertise. So it's normal that external firms be involved because the ministry we don't have, and the Quebec government, sufficient internal expertise. But when you rely on external companies, you have to have very strong digital governance. You need to have mechanisms and processes where
but
you
know
have
my
to
worry,
make sure that
my worry is about waste, right? You know what I'm trying to get to is my worries about waste. And I've got an example here where they're just like, enough of this constant waste of money. Let's just pull off the bandage. And I want, you're the official opposition, right? You want to be government. And my worry is no matter who's the next government, same thing will continue. I have a genuine concern about that.
Well, I'm worried about a government, and this is the CAQ's government fiasco. It resulted in cost overruns exceeding $500 million, a bill that Quebec taxpayers will have to cover. That is the equivalent of 10 schools at $50 million each. So, and so we have elected officials, ministers, tax ministers that knew and did not exercise their responsibility of answering, of asking the right questions, and ensuring also to follow up diligently to ensure that the project was on track.
Madame
so that
Setlakwe,
is why we need to get to the bottom of things.
Come back on the show real soon, maybe in studio, okay? Great talking to you.
I would love that. Thank you.
That's Michelle Setlakwe from the Liberal Party of Quebec.